Fantastic. Now, as you learned from my opening remarks, I know you were listening, Henry, right?
I was there.
You were listening, right? All right. Students who graduate from the Harvard Extension School wear many hats. Now, our next speaker is no exception. She is a teacher, researcher, practicing lawyer, spouse, and caregiver to 3 wonderful children. As our first recipient of an ALM in developmental practice, Ms. Hadiza Hama is a faculty member at the University of Abuja in Nigeria, where she earned her PhD in law. As a practicing lawyer for the Nigerian Federal Ministry of Justice, her responsibilities include drafting, amending, and authoring briefs on legislation. We are inspired by her courage, humanity, and grace to help those in need, especially young women in her home country of Nigeria. I present to you Ms. Hadiza Huma.
Hello, my name is Hadiza Hama. I'm graduating from ALM in Development Practice. I am a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Law, University of Abuja, Nigeria, and I am from Yobe State in northern Nigeria. I was raised in a country where the challenges of sustainable development are also too obvious. A sizable portion of the population lives in abject poverty with limited access to basic necessities of life, such as food, clean water, education, and even healthcare. I have therefore always wanted to contribute to finding lasting solutions to these problems. I also want to be a better teacher to my students and a motivation to other women, especially those in northern Nigeria, who are usually held back by restrictions rooted in negative socio-cultural practices and norms. I aim to, among other things, encourage them to go to school because many women like me in northern Nigeria represent the least educated members of society. To achieve all this, I realized that I needed such education that I could combine with my background in law to develop the capacity to address issues from a multidisciplinary perspective. The kind of education I sought could only be obtained from a distinguished center of learning. Moreover, having spent all my life and attended all schools in Nigeria, I needed the exposure that came with an international institution of repute. So when I discovered the graduate degrees at Harvard Extension School, I knew my prayers had been answered. I started with 2 open enrollment courses in 2017, summer term, and graduated with an ALM in development practice in 2019. My ALM journey was not all smooth. I am a mother of 3, and my youngest child was 20 months old when I started the program. Dr. Mark Layton's pro-seminar course was so demanding that I thought I would never make it through. Also, to this day, I have no idea how I survived Professor Tim Mills's project management course. On a typical day, I woke up at 5 a.m. I'm off to work by 7 a.m. and back home by 5 p.m. By the time I'm done with house chores, children's homework, and setting things up for the next day, it's already 10 p.m. Then I sit at my desk to work on course readings, assignments, and so on. And by 12 a.m., my online classes normally start, only to end about 2 or 3 a.m. So I get about 3 to 4 hours of sleep, and I am up and running again the next morning. At the beginning of the fall term of 2017, I had to drop the 2 pre-admission courses I was taking because I needed to care for my mother, who had fallen critically ill at that time. It was months later before she got better and life got back to normal. Coincidentally, about the same time, work became more intense that I hardly could find quality time to spend with my family. My 2-year-old was becoming very unsettled. My husband is a busy military officer, and so as much as he wanted to, there was very little he could do to help. At that point, I gave up on completing the ALM. I was simply exhausted. I recall that a few people had advised me against pursuing another degree. They reasoned that first, I was a woman and so should not subject myself to the rigors that only men should undergo. And secondly, I had 3 degrees already, a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD. Then why the overambition, they asked. They meant no harm, and I understood those who held that view because they spoke from the background, the cultural background of which I am very familiar. And for a moment, I thought that maybe they were right. In order not to waste the 2 courses I had already completed, I figured I'd just push myself to do 2 more courses in order to earn a graduate certificate and just end it there. When I told my husband I was quitting, he said, "No, you don't give up on something that means so much to you because of the challenges. You face those challenges and you conquer them." That statement changed everything, and I found myself giving my all to complete the ALM. To my utter amazement, the learning process turned out to be very enjoyable. Of course, it was all thanks to my professors, to the TAs, to my classmates, and of course, the various resources that Harvard placed at our disposal made a huge difference. In a way, my education brought me closer to my children because we ended up studying together most times at home. In fact, my 2 teenage daughters are the greatest beneficiaries of my experience because it has evoked in them a desire to work hard to succeed. I knew I could not have come this far alone. I am a firm believer in God, and my family has always been supportive. My parents, my siblings, and a very close friend that I hold so dear have always been there. My husband is my greatest pillar of support, and the exceptional people I met at Harvard made me feel that I belonged in the Harvard family. Finally, I would like to share with you the 3 main takeaways I could identify from my Harvard ALM journey. 1, we should have the courage to venture out of our comfort zone to achieve anything that we believe is right, even if it challenges our cultural identities. For me, it has led me to acquire lifelong knowledge and skills that I will continue to leverage in my quest to make my society and hopefully the world a better place. And number 2, when we set out to achieve anything, there are bound to be challenges. What matters is our ability to overcome any odds to attain success. And finally, number 3, there is nothing as precious as the people we meet every step of the way, the ones who light up our path when we thought all was darkness. Thank you.
What'd you think?
That was truly inspiring. That was awesome.
Yeah, I got to meet her last summer. We had lunch.
Live and in person?
Live and in person.
Not one of those Zoom lunches?
Nope. We sat across from the table, looked eye to eye. It was lovely.
Oh, fantastic. I remember when students used to be on campus.